Hey everyone. Thank you for tuning in. This is Kelly Fox. She is an advanced certified fearless living coach. Imagine that. She is a wife and a mother of 6 and lives in California. So for years, she struggled with depression and it led to prescriptions and therapy. And she's changed her life and found her freedom with fearless living and helping others with sharing her experiences with all of that. So thank you so much for joining us, Kelly. I'm so excited for you to share your knowledge and everything that you have going on. How are you doing today?
I am doing good. I've been sick for a couple of days, but I'm feeling well enough to be here.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming on and glad that you're feeling better. Hopefully, you'll get to that 100% very soon and bring in the new year in a healthy way.
Yes.
So, right, let's. So tell us something interesting about you and your life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, 6 kids is pretty interesting, I guess. But I also come from a big family. I am the youngest of 8 girls, and I have a younger brother. So there's 9 of us.
Okay.
My four oldest sisters are from a previous marriage, so we didn't grow up in the house with them. They're actually quite a bit older than me because I'm the youngest. But it was always fun at Christmas time when everybody came, and it was my favorite time of year because all the sisters were there and the brother-in-laws and the cousins, and it was that one time when we felt like how big our family was. So I loved Christmas for that reason.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about.
I didn't actually want a big family
no?
of my own. But my husband, who only has one brother, he got around my family and was like, "This is so cool. I want this." And I'm like, "Are you sure?" I don't know if he's sure anymore, but he's stuck with it.
That's kind of fun that, seeing the dynamic of how 2 different families were raised and being like, well, I kind of want that. I mean, I'm a child of three and I have 3 of my own, but I always did want a big family. So it's interesting how people think differently, especially a man wanting more kids. That's always fun.
Yeah. And he is a very hands-on dad, or we wouldn't have this many.
Right? It's a lot of work. It's not easy. So that's cool.
No,
and they're all good. So that's awesome. So, okay. So you're in California. What part of California are you in?
We live in the middle. So if you take the state this way and this way, we're in the middle. So
smack dab in the middle.
We live in an agricultural valley. So not what you think of when you think of, California. We don't. I'm like 2.5 hours from the beach. So. But we got plenty of palm trees.
That's nice. I mean, you can.
So we also have orange trees and walnut trees and pecan trees. And we used to actually have a lot of cotton, but they moved cotton somewhere else, and we're more nut trees and grapes. So that's what we're more now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Lots of it's a variety.
Fresno raisins.
Fresno raisins, yeah.
Yep.
I actually have. I have some friends in Fresno.
Yeah, that's where we are.
That's awesome. Cool. So, okay, so tell us about a significant time in your life that fear was holding you back from living your life fully.
Oh, that's like most of my life, but
I love your honesty.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do have clinical depression. I was diagnosed when I was 19, and that's when I started, taking the medication and seeing counselors and therapists and stuff like that. Before that, I just thought that that's just how I was. I was just, the more sensitive child, or, the one that was easier to cry or easier to have their feelings hurt or whatever out of my family. But once I was diagnosed, then it was like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense. But actually, right before I turned 16, my father committed suicide. And so that was probably one of the hardest times of my life,
Yeah.
because he was that one person who saw me.
Wow.
And so we kind of connected on that level of like having low self-esteem and, dealing with, always being the giver and the people pleaser. And so when he was gone, then I didn't feel like I had really any place in the family. I was kind of the odd man out.
Wow.
And to that's kind of my biggest trigger too in life is not being seen or being overlooked. And so he was the main person who saw me, and it became a journey of seeing myself. And that really, I've only really, I think, been somewhat successful at that maybe in the last couple of years, even though I've been doing fearless living for a long time. It's been taking me quite a while of working through all the different layers of, the 30 years before, and the 10 years after of working it out. And I think just in the beginning of this month, I had a new awareness of another layer that needs to be looked at and needs to be seen and needs to be heard. And I mean, however you think of your, the way that you process things, but I'm calling her my 3-year-old. So she's finally gotten to the point where she trusts me enough to say, hey, you've been ignoring me. You haven't been seeing me. And so I've been just starting that process of looking at what happened in my life when I was 3, because I had totally discounted anything before 15.
Yeah.
And just always saw the death of my dad being that major thing. And I've since looked at my 12-year-old, but I hadn't gotten to the point of my 3-year-old. So I'm really excited for the new year and what healing that part of my life will do for the rest of me.
Wow. Yeah, that is absolutely a trigger of, something that you would think is obviously it's tragic and sad and a big pivotal moment in your whole family's life, for that to happen. And especially that you were so connected to your dad. So I'm so sorry to hear that. So
It's
with
been 25 years.
I know that's just crazy, right?
Yeah.
So with the fear part of all of like the things that you were going through, where were you mentally when the fear of all of that, like being lost in your family and that kind of thing, how were you feeling mentally about yourself in that time?
Well, I've always struggled with worth. And I think that's what it always comes down for me, is it comes down to where I don't feel worthy of things. And I knew that I've known that about myself. Like even now, I'll say, if my kids do something really great, I'm like, well, it's because they're great kids. It's not because I'm a great mom or I've raised them well. It's all attributed to them, and I don't really take credit for anything. And so that's a thing that I've been really working on, and I have a goal of doing even better this coming year. It's really working on my acknowledgments and really seeing the things that I've done and acknowledging myself for those things and openly acknowledging myself for those things.
Yeah.
I think that when we, we're taught, I don't know, not to brag or not to be boastful or not to this or that, and acknowledging yourself for accomplishments is not being, prideful or boastful or, whatever. And I think that, we would never talk to somebody else that way. And so that's kind of my goal this year, is to really support myself and acknowledging myself for the things that I am doing and that I am contributing to really build up and break that broken record of not being worthy.
Yeah. Good. Awesome. That's exciting to
Yeah.
hear. Is that your word for the year? Have you heard of that? People picking a word
Yeah,
that they
I
hold
do
on
have
to?
a word. I do have a word, yeah. No, but that's
Cool.
not it. No, my word my word is alignment. But I think that
That was
that
mine this year. Alignment was mine.
yeah, awesome. So
That's
I'm
fun.
excited. Yeah, I'm excited for what that's going to bring. This year my word was self-love. Um
Good.
and so that has been, well, actually it was self-love was my action. So my word was actually, oh, I can't even think of it. But it was about being it's a word that I don't use often, so that's why it always like kind of leaves my head. But it was about being just like totally seen.
Okay.
Just allowing myself to be it's like right there, but it's not coming out.
Because you've
But
been
yeah,
sick.
to be totally seen. Transparent. That's the word.
Transparent. Okay.
Transparent was my word this year. It was like right there, but it wasn't coming. But yeah, to be just totally open and vulnerable and able to really be seen. And I think that's what has got me to the point where I'm seeing that 3-year-old, and I'm really seeing all the little ways that fear gets me to think that I'm not worthy. And so now, going into the new year, I want to really be aligned with my values, aligned with my core beliefs of that I am of worth,
Yes.
and have my thought process and my actions be more in alignment with that, instead of the so ingrained fear saying that I'm not.
Yeah. 100%. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Good for you. I'm excited. The year is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Um, so when you do break free of the fears and you move in new directions and you get through the things that you need to, relationships and friendships, they shift, they change. Tell us more about how that worked for your situation and everything that you've been fearful of and getting through those things.
Yeah. Well, being a people pleaser, um, it can get really tricky when you
Yeah.
start putting your own needs in front of other people's.
Yes.
So yeah, I have lost some friendships, and or where people were not as close as we were. We don't talk as often.
Yeah.
But then I've also have friends that are like, okay, I only want to take this amount of your time, because I'm the type of person I'm like, no, like, let's keep talking, even though like I'm totally exhausted, I haven't eaten, and a kid needs something. I'm always wanting to give of my time. So it's been a process of setting boundaries for myself,
Yeah.
and it becomes really obvious who like wants to step over that. Um, and I started that process probably about 4 years ago, because I had a friend who had pushed those boundaries way further than anyone ever had in my entire life.
Oh,
And even though it was a really traumatic year of a friendship with this person, it taught me so many lessons, and I wouldn't trade it for the world, because at the end of it, when the friendship dissolved, and and we parted ways, which was a healthy and good thing for me, um, I had grown so much, because I
yeah.
was put in positions where I had to set a boundary. It wasn't like oh, I talked 30 minutes longer than I should have, or I did this small thing. I mean, it was huge, pushes. And so it really allowed me to say, okay, all right, Kelly, let's look at this. Let's actually make changes. And I
Yeah.
did. And so that's been a huge thing. But setting boundaries for myself, and how much energy I'm going to give out, and what I'm going to take in and own. That was a huge thing too. Like, I
Yeah.
owned everybody's energy, everybody's problems. Like I was the one that had to fix them.
Yeah.
And I had to really look at myself and say, okay, why am I doing that? Like, why am I doing that? And so really just owning what is mine and what is theirs, and letting go of what's theirs,
Yeah.
and just working on what's mine. Give
Yeah.
me
And
a
that's
lot less
a good thing to
work.
learn. I'm
Yeah.
learning that as well. what other people think about us is not our business. And I never even thought about it that way. I connected with an amazing woman that was doing a session with me, showing me like a different way to think about things. And she said that to me. She's like, but whose business are you in right now? And I was like, isn't it my business? And she's like, is it your business what they're thinking of you? I'm like, oh crap, maybe not. Is it not my business? And I never realized, I automatically thought that like, oh, maybe that's my business, what they think. And it's none of our business what other people think of us. So yeah, it's a lot of work to keep our thoughts in check about what we do need to be focused on and what we don't. And the most of the things are ourselves.
Yeah.
That's it. We only have control over ourselves.
Yeah.
So,
and the control thing is a huge awareness, right? Like what you actually have control over and what you don't have control over. I think control is a total, like, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as control. But, when you come down to it, I mean, you can control yourself to a certain degree, I think. And you know, like what you say and
right.
what you do. But sometimes even you can't really control how you feel. You can control what you do about how you feel or what you say about how you feel. But I mean, even there's aspects of ourselves that we really have no control over. We have no control if we get sick or, you know, if, you know, somebody does something to hurt us, you know?
Exactly.
So yeah, control is a huge, you know, wake up when you realize you really have very little.
Yeah, absolutely. So talking about like jumping ship from our fears and what was holding us back, was the tipping point for you really the significance of your friendship that you saw was just pushing too far limits and you didn't have enough? Or tell us more about what compelled you to jump ship from, you know, letting the fears hold you back.
Well, it's been a slow process of transitioning. We call it from fear to freedom, but I think anything opposite of fear is love, and love, you know. So if you want to think of it that way as well, but so I started with Fearless Living, which Rhonda Britton is the founder and CEO of Fearless Living. If you guys want to check her out. Which she's amazing. She also talks about it not being your business.
Oh, sweet. Let's get her on the vlog.
Seriously. Yeah. So I started my process with her about 15 years ago. And yeah, so I've been a coach for 11 years. And so it's been a slow process of letting go of things and stuff like that. My biggest tool at the very beginning was asking myself, is it true or am I making it up? That was my biggest tool, because that I was making up so much stuff that, I mean, I really wasn't living in reality, because I was making up everything, and our brains will automatically do that. When we don't have all of the information, our brain will just fill in things.
Yeah.
Because it's easier for it to process with all of the boxes checked. But that doesn't mean that they're correctly checked. Yeah. And, you know, I would have whole conversations with my husband that we actually didn't have. They were all just up here. And, you know, and I would make up what he would say, and I would make up how he felt, and I would make up all of this stuff. And he was doing the same thing. We actually separated for a month. And it was Fearless Living that brought us back together, because it was me checking, okay, what am I making up about our relationship? What am I making up about what he thinks or how he feels? And then I challenged him to do the same, and we were able to come back together and work it out. And so, yeah, I mean, and I only had 2 kids at that time.
Nice.
And so I think that, you know, really getting clear on where fear is talking to you. There's so many things that I would say to myself, oh, I don't like that, but I had no evidence to why I didn't even like it. I don't like it, or I can't do that. That was a huge thing, was challenging the voice that tells me that I'm not capable, or that I can't, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm not anything enough. And challenging that day after day after day after day, and proving to myself that I am capable and that I can do a lot of things. And the things that I've accomplished now, or that I can even do, the fact that I can even get on here and do this video with you is something that I would have not been able to do, even though I grew up in the theater. I mean, I did my first play at our community theater when I was 4. But you take me off the stage and I don't have a line or know exactly what I'm supposed to do, I'm hiding.
Right.
You know, I'm not, I don't have a script in front of me. I don't know, you know, what you're exactly wanting from me. Then I don't even want to play. And so being able to show up and just, you know, just speak from my heart, just go with whatever's in my head, you know, is a huge thing that I never would have been able to do before. Never.
That's awesome. Well, I'm so happy that you are doing it and that you're here. And that's really interesting. 4 years old that you were at the theater. Oh my gosh. Like, see, I've never done anything like that.
Yeah.
So that's really interesting.
We all have our own fears, right?
I know, right?
But, I mean, you put me on a stage and give me something to say, I can do that. But you make me actually show up as me? Oh, heck no, I'm gone.
See, I think I'm totally the opposite of that. Like, you put me on stage and tell me what to say, and I'm gonna be like, these are not my words. I don't know what I'm saying, blah, 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 blah. And when I talk about my, like, who I am, I can do that easily. Like, I'm the total opposite. So that's really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I love that you can go through the world without a mask. You know, I think that a lot of people go through the world as a character that they've created, and so you're relating to this character, and if you don't like it, that's fine, because that's not who I really am. That's a character that I put out there for you to like, you know? Yeah. And so, you know, being able to drop that character and really show up as me, so you're either liking or disliking me, that's a huge, huge thing. And fear doesn't want you to do that. That's not safe. That's not a safe thing. Fear wants to keep you safe. And anytime you put yourself in a situation that it thinks isn't going to be safe, it's going to be up and it's going to be talking to you and trying to convince you not to do it. So getting past listening to that voice and doing anything that's out of your comfort zone is a huge, huge thing.
Yeah, huge victories in those little things, those little tiny steps that we can take every day to do something that we're like, oh, do I want to do that? Don't think about it. Just like, do it.
Just do it.
You know, Mel Robbins, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Do it. Like, that's true. The more we think about things, the more we have time to tell ourselves it's not going to work out.
Yes.
Yeah, too much doubt creeps in too fast. So what kind of advice would you give the viewers about overcoming fear or moving through those fears in a daily basis or on a big scale, however you want to talk about it?
Okay. Well, we have basic tools at Fearless Living that I think are really great, but I mean, I don't have time to really explain them all right now, but what we do is we do 5 gratitudes and 5 acknowledgments every day. And the way that we do gratitudes are things that are outside of ourselves, right? With that control, that word control, things we had no control over. Somebody else decided to do something, or it was a beautiful day that you have absolutely no control over the weather, right? You know, so, you know, really shifting your thought process to seeing the world being for you instead of seeing the world against you. That's what gratitudes are really powerful and helping you shift your thought process. And then acknowledgments, I've already kind of talked about. Those are the things that you've done. So really seeing how you've stepped out, building up that confidence muscle that you can do, you know, that you can do whatever it is that you're dreaming of doing, you know, little step by little step by little step, and acknowledging each one of those. Even if it's just a new thought, acknowledge it, right? And so those are probably the 2 biggest things that, you know, that I think that you could do on a daily basis to help you shift out of listening to your fear. And, but also just being aware of what it's telling you. You know, awareness is the first step to anything. So, you know, on my blog, I have a podcast that I do every Monday night. And those are the things that we talk about. We talk about the 12 steps to freedom, or the 12 steps to change, whatever you want to call them. And awareness is the first step. And so the more aware you are of what you're doing and why you're doing it, the easier it is to shift it to do something different.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. The gratitude aspect of it is huge. And I love that you talked about, the things that we don't have control over, and that we had, it's just something that we're grateful for that is just there for us. And I never really thought about it that way. So that's a great tip. I like that a lot.
Okay.
So I'm a huge like dreamer, and I love asking people, where do you see yourself in 5 years? You've came to like learn how to get through the fears and taking bite sizes of like what's happening. So if you think about like in 5 years from now, what do you see for your life and your family or yourself?
I love this question, especially right now because I have a 2-year-old. So that means 5 years from now, they are all going to be in school.
Yes.
And my life is going to be so wide open to what I can accomplish during the day. But I'm a life coach with Fearless Living. So I want to be able to, my dream is to be helping lots of people get past their fear and to see themselves. So that is a huge thing for me, and I feel like my journey and the things that the things that I've worked through, the things that I've gotten past, that's my job to then teach others and share with others how they can do it. So I call myself a visibility coach. We're all just the same thing, but I want to help people really be able to see themselves and to create a space within their life that is their space, and to allow themselves time in the spotlight. And I would really, really love to have like a traveling type event where people come and they learn from all the amazing people that I've gotten together.
Yeah.
And we just have like a 2-day love fest of how we can really see ourselves, how we can move ourselves forward, how we can all achieve the lives that we want to live. I mean, as women, we are such a force in this life. And I feel like there's so much in society that's telling us to be quiet and to sit down. And I just really want, women to feel empowered because, I mean, we raise the next generation, and if we sit down and be quiet, then what are we teaching our daughters and our nieces and the young girls that we influence? And so as much as I have 3, so as much as I can step up and not be quiet, I want them to know that too. So that's not even a thought in their head at all, is to be quiet.
Yeah. I love it. That's so cool. Well, I'm excited that we connected and that we found each other to collaborate on this first. And like, I have no idea what's in store for us, but I'm excited because everything you talked about is just exactly what me and all of the women that have been on this vlog so far. I have huge aspirations for what this is bringing and pulling us all together to collaborate. And it's very exciting. I cannot wait. So where can the viewers connect with you? Where's the best place?
Okay. Well, probably the place I am the most is Facebook and social media wise, but you can always check out my website, which is kellylynncoaching.com. And my name is Kelly, and then Lynn is Lynnne. So it's a little hard, but kellylynncoaching.com is my website. And that's how I am on Facebook as well. But it's Kelly Lynn Coaching # Let's Hatch. That used to be my old name, and Facebook wouldn't let me drop it, so that's why it's there. And but I mean, I still talk to hatching, like hatching out of the shell that you've kept yourself in. So it all plays together, but it's not everybody was getting Let's Hatch, so went a little bit more simple with my name. But so you can find me there. Or my podcast is called Fearless Generations, because I do it with my mom, who is also a life coach with Fearless Living. And so we talk about the generational aspects of how fear plays with me and how it plays with her, and how she's gotten past certain things that I'm still struggling with. But then also how, because I'm a younger generation, like tech doesn't scare me like it scares her. And so there's different things, right, that affect us generationally. And so we talk about the 12 steps to change. We also do live workshops. So if you live near California or you're willing to come to California, we do lots of live workshops that are really awesome. The podcast is every Monday night. So fearlessgenerations.org or kellylyncoaching.com.
Awesome. Thank you.
Both of those are on Facebook.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. I love it. So what is the last thing you want to leave the viewers with, your last words of wisdom about fear, and your last message that you want to give them?
Oh, I don't know. My last message, that's like intense. I think just if there's an inkling that you want to do more, that's enough. You don't need to know anything more than that. There are plenty of people around you that can support you in learning anything you need to know. And so if you have an idea, just step forward into it. Just be willing to just step forward and trust that the people that you need to birth that idea are going to come forward and help you birth it. And my word 3 years ago was willingness. And willingness is a huge thing, huge gift you could give to yourself this year. Being willing to just take even the tiniest step out and go towards that dream that you have.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's great. See, you did just fine. That's awesome. I love it. Well, thank you again, Kelly, for your time. This was fantastic. I cannot wait to hear what everyone thinks about learning more about fearlessly living. Oh my gosh. See, I have to say it backwards from me. So I love it.
I know.
But thank you again for your time. I'm so excited to have you on the vlog and get more of your story out and connect you to our viewers. And I cannot wait to see how we collaborate in the time ahead and what the next 5 years will hold for you. So have a fantastic day, and thank you again. Everyone, remember to love yourself and live fearlessly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.